So I need like a call to action. I need some sort of like trigger that'll bring me into the moment. And that was Year of Expression. And so it was a way for me to publicly declare my intentions and then have the community hold me accountable and affirm me in that journey. And then every time I start the video, hi, I'm Tom Earl, and this is my Year of Expression. That phrase is a mental trigger that brings me immediately into my purpose and moment. I do a once a month live and online writing workshop, and I've done writing workshops all over the country and stuff. And what I always try to teach people to do is free write, that you get out of the way and let whatever's coming through you come through you. Because our thinking mind is what gets in the way, where it's like, I want to create a poem where everybody snaps and it's #1 album. And when you think like that way, you know, it's different. Like in leadership, you know, one of the 7 habits of highly effective leaders, begin with the end in mind, right? But it's hard when you do that as an artist. You know what I'm saying? So instead, maybe like I'll have the beginning of an idea. Like for instance, one of my poems, Dark Like the Contradiction of the Word Itself. I did a free write, and then I had a line that came out that was dark like the contradiction of the word itself. And I was like, there it is, I'm going to develop that. So I had like an initial seed or intention for what I wanted to talk about. Now I see what this means. Now I got to come in more with the organized mind, the type A mind, and start to give this thing life and structure. You know what I mean? Well, when I get to there and I finally have $1 million, then I'll get my life in order. Then I won't be such a hot mess. When it's not true, the practices you have now are going to be the practices you have then. They're just going to be amplified. And we think that too about our happiness, that like, well, I'm unhappy now because I hate my job. But like, once I come up and I'm like, I don't know, like a lot of artists, like once I come up and I'm finally this like pop sensation, or when I'm finally the boss of this place, or when I finally have a new car, then I'll be happy. But it doesn't work like that, because happiness can't come from outside. It has to come from the inside. And Tony Robbins says like one of the worst things ever is to have success without fulfillment. And that's what that is. You finally had this success, but you don't have the fulfillment. And that's where, you know, I talk a lot about, are you doing something to prove or improve yourself? There's a high correlation between, if you have external goals like that there's a high correlation with anxiety, depression, because you're never going to be validated by things out there. And when you are, it's like in a second, and then your mind automatically resets the bar, right? You might notice that when you're like, okay, I'll know I've made it when I finally have my first YouTube video up. And then you publish it and you're already like, but it only got 3 views. This is bull. Why did I even do this, right? Your mind automatically resets the bar because it can never be satisfied. You can never be fully validated because it has to come from in here. And so that's the same thing. Happiness right now, you can find happiness in this moment, and then no matter what you go through, it's there, right? And so practical things, I just learned a really awesome one in Tim Ferriss's new book. Think of somebody either from like your childhood, or a stranger you ran into while you were coming to work, or if you're at work and somebody passes you, just think of that person and for 30 seconds, wish them good, right? Just without them knowing, just start to, in your mind, say like, I hope that they're having a peaceful life. I wish that blessings come your way. Hope you get that raise you've been wanting. Hope you get a great meal tonight. There's something about wishing somebody else good without wanting it to be reciprocated that you just can't help but smile. Gratitude, no matter what, every situation, finding at least the 3 things you're grateful for. And if it's like nothing, I hate my situation, one of my go-tos is that I can blink, right? If you couldn't blink, everything would quickly become intolerable. Start there, and then the next thing you know, you'll find something you're grateful for in every moment, and it just like changes your perspective. One free course I offer online is called the Achievement Roadmap. And one of the tools I give people is called Brainstorm and Bucket. And so what that is one thing people should do is, if you have a whole bunch of passions, whole bunch of things, write it all down in just bullet form, right? I want to sing, I want to do music, and I want to do this video, and I want to have a podcast, I want to have a series, and I want to see my mom, and I want to call my brother, and I want to cook. I want to do a cooking blog, and I want to meet a chef, and I want to go to school for chef, but I want to do music. Write it all down, right? Okay? Then after you do that, start to see where themes develop. So you'll start to find that really you have maybe about like 5 core areas of your life that everything can fall into. Then what you got to decide is, what do you have time for? One thing I've learned is you'll be surprised what you can do in 15 minutes. So those little 15-minute periods of like randomness might add up to an hour. And that hour could be the time where you got to sing. And then that like random phone call you took because you knew if you didn't answer you'd feel guilty, and it ended up taking 45 minutes. That's 45 minutes where you could have done your other passion. And then where you sat down and watched, that extra episode of Orange is the New Black, that could have been the hour where you did your third passion. And next thing you know, you had an hour each day to do 3 passions. So just plug in a little bit each day. And like back to the other thing is cultivate your inner happiness. That you got to be like your number one priority. Otherwise, you're going to achieve success but not have fulfillment. And then you'll just be like another artist who made it, has what they wanted, and then they squander it on self-destruction. You know what I'm saying? So above all else, cultivate your happiness.